Staring off into the sea of ghosts, Ulla had been at the Windhelm docks since dawn, for the next boat from Anvil would arrive soon. Ulla prayed that Oddr was on it. The war ended a month ago. Word of the White-Gold Concordat spread like wildfire across Skyrim, and with soldiers returning home, so too did the descriptions of the battles fought. Almost all the legionaries belonging to Skyrim had returned, save a few. Ulla prayed that Talos, the storm of Kine, would grant her husband passage home. As the sun began its descent over the sea, Ulla's heart began to shatter. The boat never came. Oddr never came. After another hour of waiting, Ulla began to walk home. Eirik would be returning from his lessons at the temple soon, and she needed to be there for him. Someone had to be there for him. Mama, Eirik said as he rushed into the house. You won't believe what Torbjorn taught me today. The home was modest, 2 bedrooms, a hearth for cooking, and a small living room, which Eirik would use primarily for studying. Yes, my little cub, what did Master Torbjorn teach you? Ulla replied. She had already fixed most of their supper, roasted goat glazed with butter, and with a side of apple slices, Eirik's favorite snack. Ulla turned around from the hearth to see Eirik producing a small, flickering flame in the palm of his hands. The flame, while tiny, burned with a soothing heat. He taught me how to make fire. Did he also teach you how to put the fire out? Ulla couldn't believe what she saw. Torbjorn was a gifted priest. He had even taught her how to produce a small flame for protection, but she mostly used her magic in healing or to help with chores. Why did Torbjorn teach her son to produce fire when he should be learning healing? Yes, but isn't this cool, Mama? It is, dear. Although I ask that you don't produce that flame while in the house. Don't want to burn down our home, do you? Oh, okay, Mama, Eirik replied, then proceeded to fan the flame out. Did Father come home? No, not yet, dear, Ulla reluctantly said. She knew that Eirik would ask. She had an hour to prepare for that question, but it hurt to say it. Don't forget to lock the door, dear. Supper is almost ready, and then straight to bed. Tomorrow's a new day. Okay, Mama, Eirik said, a little saddened by the fact his father wasn't home. The boy would go lock the door, then sat at the table, taking a seat with his back to the door. Beside him were 2 chairs. The one to his left was his mother's, the closest to the hearth, and the other sat empty, with its back to the wall, his father's. Here, dear, roasted goat with apple slices. Your favorite. Ulla placed the plate in front of her son, then took her seat and said a small prayer tomorrow for their meal. Mama, is Father ever going to come home? Of course, Eirik. Of course your father will come home. Ulla nearly choked as Eirik spoke. Of course Oddr will come home. He promised to come home, and Ulla never knew him to break a promise. What would make you think otherwise? Well, Halldir's father came home. Ingol's too, but Father hasn't even shown up. Eirik, sweetie, your father will come home. He's what? He spent all day at the docks waiting, Eirik said. Ulla was stunned. Eirik knew that? Ulla made sure that Eirik would be in class on days like today, but he knew? For all we know, he could be Eirik. Ulla resisted the urge to slam her fists against the table. He's not dead. Oddr can't be dead, and she won't accept it. Your father will come home. Now eat your supper before it gets cold. How sure can you be? It's been months since his last letter, and Torbjorn says, I don't care what Torbjorn says. All the blood in Eirik's face drained as Ulla yelled. She never yelled at her son before. Never in his 5 years of life. Eirik, may I be excused? Eirik said meekly. Ulla nodded her head, then Eirik grabbed his food and headed to his room, closing the door behind him. For the first time since Oddr left, Ulla felt truly alone, and so wept. Ulla stood at the docks, alone and staring intently at the sea of ghosts while muttering, He will arrive today. He must arrive today. Eirik was back home. Ulla offered him to come with her. She could have easily forced him, but after last night's outburst, she offered. He wanted to go play with his friends instead, no doubt to show them the spell that Torbjorn taught him. He will arrive today. He must arrive today, Ulla repeated. 5 years of being a single mother. 5 years of telling her son that his father will be home alive. 5 years of praying that Oddr will return alive. 5 years of hope slowly crumbling by the second. He has to be alive. Is there something I can help with? Ulla turned around. For a moment, hope filled her heart, but that hope quickly faded away. Standing before her was a man dressed in sailing attire, a bushy black beard and hair tied in a knot. I couldn't help but notice you staring out into the sea, as if trying to will the sea to speak, the sailor said. His accent, while thick like a Nord's, betrayed his soft eyes and tanned skin, common among Bretons. You could say that, Ulla replied. If Ulla could make the sea talk, she would force it to give up the location of her husband. Waiting on someone then? Ulla nodded. My husband. He went off to find the war, but now here waiting for him. The sailor's head dropped as Ulla spoke. I hate to tell you, ma'am, but there won't be any more ships coming from Cyrodiil for some time. What? The sailor nodded this time. The war may have ended with the Empire, but they're still fighting in the Hammerfell, so travel by sea is almost impossible. You're better off going to Whiterun or Solitude to look for him. So no passenger ship will be coming here at all? There might be a few here and there. They would have to sail around Blackmarsh and Morrowind, but it'll take a lot longer than the usual routes through Anvil and around Hammerfell and then High Rock. That's why you might want to check the capital or Whiterun. I had a cousin show up in Whiterun before returning here. Whiterun or Solitude. I'll be sure to check, Ulla said eagerly. If she left now, she could take a carriage to Whiterun before it gets dark, and then take another in the morning to Solitude. She'll have to leave Eirik in the care of Torbjorn for the time being. Without our thought, Ulla began sprinting through the docks and back towards Kyne's Grove. Thank you. May Kyne give you favorable winds, Ulla yelled to the sailor as she went. And may she help you find your husband, the sailor replied. Four days went by in a flash. Ulla entered her home, barely containing defeated tears from forming. Whiterun held no results, and Solitude fared even less. Not even the legate had an answer for her. Simply go home and wait. In the morning she'll check the docks again. Maybe a passenger ship had arrived. If not, she'll make preparations to go all the way to the Imperial City and make a plea to the Emperor if she had to. She will find her husband. Ulla won't stop until Oddr was in her arms again. I will find you, Oddr. Kind soul help me, I will find you. Mama, are you home? Did you find Papa? A sleepy Eirik came into view. Eirik, Ulla said. She left him alone for 4 days. Granted, Torbjorn was looking after him, but looking at him, Ulla realized the mistake she made. How could she leave him alone for 4 days, scared from the possibility of losing her, of losing both parents? No, not yet, dear. Ulla went to embrace her son, her only son. Mama, I'm sorry for what I said the other day about Dad. It's okay, dear. I'm sorry for yelling at you. You know Mama loves you, right? Eirik nodded. He would probably not remember their fight the other day, given how young he still is, but Ulla would. She will remember until the end of her days. I promise I won't leave you again. No, Mama, I love you too. Ulla, on the brink of crying, gently kissed Eric's forehead. Let's get you back to bed, dear. Ulla said, then began to walk Eirik back to his room. Then suddenly, that must be Torbjorn, Ulla said. She did ask the high priest to check on Eirik throughout the day. Do you want to say goodnight to him before going to bed? Eirik nodded. The pair then went to the door. Ulla undid the latches and slowly opened the door while speaking. Torbjorn, I can't thank you enough for watching over. Ulla gasped for air as she locked eyes with the man before her. His battered yet still gleaming Imperial armor reflected the stars as they danced in the night. There was a scar on his right side where there wasn't one before. And those eyes, Ulla can never forget those brown eyes, for she's seen them every day through her son. Ulla, Oddr said, his voice haggard, but there was a warmth in it. He reached out a hand to caress his wife's cheek to wipe away the stream of tears flowing down it. Forgive me for taking so long. Ulla said nothing. She tried to say something, but it came out as a jumbled mess of joy and weariness. Oddr was home. Eirik had his father, and she wouldn't be a widow this day. The two embraced, crying. Eirik stood there, not knowing what to do, nor how to react to his father. After what seemed forever, Oddr tilted his head slightly to see his son's blank stare. My son, oh how you've grown, Oddr said, choking up, turning to Ulla to let go of their embrace. and Oddr took his helmet off and got on one knee, reaching out a hand to his son's shoulder. "Thank you for taking care of your mother for me, son. I know it wasn't easy, or knowing her for so long, but I promise you, we'll make up for the lost time together." Oddr gently tugged Eirik's shoulder in an attempt to hug him. Yet, the soldier was caught off guard by his son, basically tackling him, almost bringing Oddr to the ground, and Eirik too began to cry tears of joy. The family were reunited at long last.